There we go. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Had my mute on there. It's a good thing I checked. There we go. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Okay, that sounds better. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Big Chonis here. Let's start this again. November 19th, 2019. Sorry, 2020. 1 week before Thanksgiving. Checking out Bitcoin here. I'm on the BingBon exchange. You know, we were over 18K again most of our past few hours here, getting that little resistance once again. But what's more important is that Bitcoin has been ranging over the past several days here. And because of that ranging, and other than our big wick down initially, the volatility has been kind of quiet. And what that's done is it's actually allowed a lot of altcoins to basically use that support and continue to range a little bit higher here. I was watching Uni last night, and I had a long position that got stopped out overnight. Of course, it just got me, and then it just cranked once again. But we are hitting this near-term resistance overall. Take a look here at DOT. Again, another one of these that's been kind of in this sideways funk for a while, but still holding up. You know, these ranging over longer periods of time, we can basically build that support base once again. I was also watching ADA last night. We poked our head over 11 cents. Recently, this is the 5 minute. Yeah, we were up here, and that was starting to get a little impressive there, and came down, and very similar to the last one we looked at there. You know, still ranging overall. I do want to make a mention of Litecoin here. We touched $80, so congratulations there. And it's just very interesting that this has been one that's kind of been slow and steady. You know, it seems to move up quite a bit, and then it seems to retrace quite a bit. But overall, that stair-step pattern continues, and just was able to breach 80 on today's current price action. But now we got Bitcoin again. You know, I'm not going to say it was a meaningful rejection of any way, just basically over the $8,000 area. But for now, it is hard to say if people are rebuilding their longs here or continuing to scale out on these breaks of $8,000. And we continue to see that resistance overall, but very strong buying support from 72 to 72 higher 72s, and then 73. So we do have a now you know, higher move here of support continuing to hold, and that's definitely you know, very encouraging as well. Give me 1 second here. Let's do this, pull this up. Guys, Big Chonis here. Remember to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Big Chonis. These are my trading ideas. You know, I've been in this space for about, well, I've been in Bitcoin for about 4 years now, but you know, I've been trading stocks and whatnot for over 10 years now. And you know, on my YouTube channel, what I like to talk about is you know, mostly focused on Bitcoin, but definitely we do talk a lot about some altcoins as well and other things here. And I think what today's Thursday, so we got a couple more days left of the week, and when we're going into the weekend price action, I'll be very curious to see you know, how the legacy markets end up on Friday's close, because that's going to give us a sense potentially of the mood of the overall risk on, if you will, you know, heading into that weekend price action. And what the heck is going on here? Come on, TradingView. It's still loading. There we go. Okay. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow right now. So this is the daily chart. And, you know, as I was saying there, we got a couple interesting wicks that are really interesting in terms of what the buying support we are continuing to see every time we crank below the $7,200 area. Now, what's important about that is that needs to basically hold and continue to basically show. What's important is that we continue to see buyers step in when it feels like the sense of that higher low is potentially about to be broken, and we don't want to see that because that can basically say, okay, maybe we are rounding out here. Okay, we're finally seeing the volatility at these higher zones here. Okay, that is basically showing that we're having a much bigger battle between our bulls and our bears. And right now, our range is pretty big. I mean, you could argue we have a $1,500 range between what could be a double top of resistance and then what could be just another test of that quick buy up of Bitcoin, basically at $77,200. So nothing really changed much from our show on yesterday, other than the fact that buyers are still stepping into this market here. We still got a decent amount of the day left, and looks like we're going to put in probably some lower volume than the past couple days here, which maybe could be showing that buyer exhaustion more than that seller exhaustion, in terms of, okay, we're kind of flushed out all the sellers of such. Somebody did make a point on Twitter. I remember that Litecoin has many times preceded Bitcoin's bounce, and that's definitely something that could be in play as well. As you can see, the volume in Litecoin over the past several days, actually the past several weeks here, has been quite impressive. Again, I think a lot of that has to do with its addition to PayPal, but that's basically how it works here. And maybe there is a new generation of Litecoin people who are seeing what it did achieve. And listen, remember, I mean, this was a $400 for a very brief amount of time. This was over $100 numerous times, and this has been a lagger, you could argue, in terms of what its performance has been over the past year, especially compared to like Ethereum. But maybe it's just slowly beginning to grind up like that in that situation here. Now, we were looking at this potential resistance line here. Let's see, let's go higher. Oh, because I'm in log. That's why. I bet you're right. Yeah, that's why. Okay. Interesting. Log you get, if you use that break, it touched it right to a penny there. That's interesting. So, Litecoin can be showing running room here to get, as high as the 90s or even $100. 20% now doesn't really seem that far off. So are we talking about this in the context of what do the bulls, want to see? They want to see Bitcoin rise, but more importantly, they want to see Bitcoin maintain. And maintaining where we currently are in this area of support, continues to be key. From an extreme standpoint, we are in the upper boundaries of what would be considered a very frothy, even potentially overbought market. The reason we've been riding above our upper Bollinger, I'm on the 3-day here, and I wanted to actually focus on this 3-day chart for a while. It's always been a very clean chart with some really interesting data. But the fact that we have a tremendous spread in our Bollinger Bands, once again, and that correlates to, clearly we can see what a massive spread can look like. Note our 2019 bull market spread really didn't get very wide here. It kind of chugged up a nice channel, rolled over kind of slowly, and came down. The rollover here was a little more violent. Okay, and then you can see, look how quickly this kind of raced up here as the price action began to kind of ebb and fall here. So just the breadth here of our 3-day is pretty tremendous, as well as the consistency of these green candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in a row. I mean, now historically we've actually seen that a couple times, 8, 9, 10, even 11 in a row of the 3-day candles here, and that so that is and then after that continues to happen, what we end up seeing is this complete rollover of the price and some sort of basically consolidation period, which hasn't necessarily meant that the bull market is over. Remember, we talk about bull markets and bear markets, but keep in mind here that Bitcoin continues to hold overall, significant higher lows here. Even in the context of, 2017, I mean, just 3 years ago, we were at $3,000, and then yes, this year we were just a hair in the $3,000 as well, and the last time we were in there for a lot longer. It's always been in this uptrend, if you will. It's just been a relative uptrend depending upon when you actually entered Bitcoin. And I think, if there's hodlers in this zone here, there's a bunch of people in this zone that picked up a lot of Bitcoin, okay, and either sold most of it, capitulated on most of it, or potentially are just still holding their original stack. The issue that I have with some things is that the Bitcoin that was acquired back here, let's just call it, $300 and under, and then the part that was like the really early stuff, which was like, let's call it under 100, under $50 and earlier, that easy money kind of at this point here, because it wasn't long before the continuation of this move put that way into profit real quickly here. So now when we're at Bitcoin 18,000, you kind of have to ask yourself, at what stage do people that are once again way in the money, assuming these are OGs, right, that have been holding crypto for years, is there a price level where they would consider, scaling out of their longer term holds? Not necessarily the fact that they don't expect it to go higher over all-time highs and then some, but just the fact that, maybe they regretted not taking some off the table in this area here, and then I said maybe at this point I'm either all in or not, and then once again are being confronted with that question. I know a lot of people were able to scoop up some cheap Bitcoin in the 4 and the 5K depths of March, and if they were able to hold through all this, they're sitting pretty right now, but they're also up almost 300%. And in any investment, when you're up 300%, or that much of anything, taking some off the table. So the higher we get, we should be seeing that seller downward pressure, and that has nothing really to do with the miners, which is a whole other entity where, for them to remain competitive, they not only have to buy new hardware, but then they have to keep buying the newest and best. So their replenishment cost can be significant. So at some point, they themselves need to liquidate some of the Bitcoin that they have, again, at a certain point. So minor capitulation is something when we're in the depths here, but there's miners can take a lot of profit in this area, because at this point they're making thousands of dollars per Bitcoin mined. And what's different now is that we're after the halvening, and that basically means that there's, from the inflation standpoint, less of those coins are being mined. So they're getting less coins, but because of the 300% move in Bitcoin this year, they're still doing pretty good, well into profit on the OA. And, at this point here, I'd be curious to see if any meaningful pullbacks, what the miner stats kind of show, and if that kind of continues to be an issue overall. Didn't want to go too long at this moment, because I might do a show later on the daily close, but I just kind of wanted to check in with you guys and see what we're doing. We're still consolidating here. The only thing that's kind of sticking out to me right now, even though the volume is still pretty good, is that for us to continue to maintain this momentum here, we kind of need to see the continuation of that breakaway speed that we've seen this entire way up. Does this feel different than these and these? It's hard to say, really. I just think absorbing the fact that Bitcoin is all the way up here at 18K is definitely pretty interesting, considering we were, at I mean, this happened in days, even in hours here. And the fact that we haven't had that big, meaningful retrace is important. And, even if this is the bull market we've been waiting for, even in the best of the bull markets, we've had, those 20 percenters and 30 percenters and 40 percenters. And we can see where that would take us down on the totem here. Now, of course, the higher we go, the higher that backdrop would be. If we were going to get up to $23,000, let's just say, and then do a 20% from there, is basically right where we are right now. A 30% from there is 15K, and then a 40% from there is 13K. So if we hit 22 and then we come all the way back to 13, does 13 seem really cheap at that moment from the 22 there? So these are all things that, at this stage we keep in our mind here, because if we're going to use history to define how nice this bull pattern looks, we also have to use the history that shows what those pullbacks also look like, and then potentially where a good entries overall could be found. So with that, it's Big Chonis here. Yeah, just about 20 minutes. That's perfect. Stay safe. Keep an eye on this here. Alts are using this Bitcoin ranging to establish some bases and see if they can kind of build up on that. Back over 18K, we'll definitely see where the daily candle ends. Yesterday's candle did have that reversal candle shape to it because of the long legs in both directions there. And today's candle is so far looking pretty good, but we've still got 7 hours left to go, and how this one shapes out could definitely define how we kind of end up the week as well, because the weekly candle still looks pretty damn good, and be curious to see how long this wick actually becomes in 3 days and 8 hours. And just this run has just been tremendous here, and the weekly still shows a very high RSI. This is our highest RSI since back in the top, really. We're right there. We only got to 80 on the June 19, August 19th one of 2019, and this is of our highest weekly RSIs historically speaking. Remember, the RSI normally stops at 70 as kind of the overbought and above. I move mine to 80-20 because it gives me more of a conservative perspective when we're really above and really below. But remember, this doesn't necessarily mean overbought. This just means very strong, but we can see historically when we're very strong, very strong, very strong, very strong, even in these bull market trends, our pullbacks are defined by a quick reversal. So something to consider and something we're going to be watching for as we go. So guys, if you appreciate this content, give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. If you're interested in doing some leverage trading or need an exchange that you want to trade on, I trade on BingBon, and you can see my affiliate code there as well. Until next time, which will probably pretty soon, maybe tonight, Big Chonis, stay safe out there. Talk